Hi team, Melissa from Going My Own Pace here, and I wanted to make this video because I wanted to tell you what I think is the most important thing I could tell you. I've got over 300 videos here in several books and all sorts of things, and I think what it comes down to, the thing that I have learned, is that for every single symptom that has ever been ignored or downplayed or gaslit or whatever, there has actually been a really good reason for it and good ways to work with it. Sometimes that means little improvements, but sometimes it means significant improvements. And that ultimately comes down to why I share absolutely everything I'm learning in my journey in case it can translate to something helpful for you. And I share what helps me. And the thing is that every time I share something that helps me, there's so many provisos, right? Like, I think it helps me because, and this is what it's, got the research behind it for. However, we know that there are things that the research isn't necessarily completely in agreement on. Low-dose naltrexone is one. The research tends to be very one way or the other. Either like they love it or they hate it. But for the people that it does help significantly. Why does it help me so much? I can't tell you exactly why. It could be just the combination of the things that are going on for me, and that the underlying issue is neuroinflammation. Who knows what's going on there or why it particularly helps me. But I think the thing is that we need to talk about this and we need to know about this. And man, I hope it's just me and a few others. I hope that it isn't the majority of us. But I've been reflecting on my journey and it just hit me today. Every single symptom I have, which in most cases I have been told in one way or another to just get on with it and do my best with it as it is, has actually had a really good reason behind it and good things to help it. So let's take maybe the insomnia, the sleep issues. I have had sleep issues for many, many years. And when I went to the pain clinic, I was sent to the pain clinic many years after actually I was first diagnosed with anything in terms of chronic pain. And I just said sleep. I knew that if they could help me sleep, then the rest of the symptoms would be easier to manage. And that time I was dismissed. Oh, do some sleep hygiene. And if she'd bothered to ask me a question, she'd know I have extensive understanding of sleep hygiene and a rigorous sleep hygiene routine. And I do all the things, absolutely all the things. But since starting quetiapine, because of a doctor who took the whole insomnia problem seriously, things have changed just in so many ways. Like just the having sleep, going to bed and knowing I can get to sleep, getting enough deep and REM sleep, all of those things make a massive difference because every human being in this world needs sleep. And that was something that they just left. Like this otherwise seemingly healthy 20-something-year-old person with all of her blood tests in the normal ranges. Oh, well, she doesn't sleep. What the heck, man? You should have cared. And it's the same as, so 2 years ago, after my surgery for the hysterectomy and endometriosis excision, again, another condition that had been ignored for many, many, many years, and I had to fight to get that treatment. But during that surgery, they put my SI joints out of place. And at that point, I knew nothing about hypermobility. I probably didn't even know it existed. But I was trying to walk around with them out of place, and my lower back was in so much pain that I could barely sit down anywhere. I could hardly lie down comfortably. I was almost in tears at all times. So when I went to my doctor to beg for help and a referral to rheumatology, I was at the end of it. I was miserable, so much pain. And I went to this rheumatologist and he dismissed the hypermobility, didn't go through the criteria properly because I had brought it up at that point. And he just wrote lower back pain, chronic lower back pain on my list of problems, as he referred to them. I had about 7 at the time, and sent me on my way. And the implication is, oh, it's chronic lower back pain. So A, there's no real good reason for it happening. And B, there's nothing really we can do. That's what they left me to it. And if it wasn't for me finding that chiropractor and her explaining that my SI joints are really hypermobile and they were out of place and they continually go out of place, and she putting them back in place, and then also me starting my very gentle strength training routine, which helped build the strength, which also helps me keep them less wobbly and more in place. I would still be living like that. It was like 6, 7, 8 out of 10 pain levels every day, all day. And now, I mean, yeah, sure, the cold seeps into my hip bones like now in winter and it's freezing. And when they go out, it hurts. But generally now, probably the pain on a regular basis is maybe 4 out of 10. And I do have to be quite careful of them. But you can see that difference, right? Like there is a real reason why I was experiencing the lower back pain, and really key things I can do to make it better. And I could give you examples for days, like all of these symptoms that I experienced. Like for so long, no one knew anything about why I had chronic pelvic pain, why it was so painful for me whenever they did checks in pregnancy, whenever I had to have a smear, why, lots of things like that hurt, why I just had a lot of pain in that region. And there were 2 reasons. One, interstitial cystitis, so overactive bladder. But the other thing was the endometriosis. You get chronic pelvic pain with untreated and ongoing pain in that region, like from endometriosis. And since the surgery and figuring out about the interstitial cystitis, figuring out that there were actually a couple of things I was consuming that do hurt my bladder. So MSG and aspartame. For some reason, when I have the fake sugars or the MSG, it feels like I have a bladder infection, like it burns my bladder so badly. Avoiding those things has almost completely resolved it, and fixing the endometriosis has, like, this area is so quiet now. Like I have hardly any problems at all in that area, and there were a lot of, that's an important area of your body. So what's the point? The point is every single symptom that I have at one time or another been told to get on with, oh well, you just have to figure it out, this is just for you, there's no reason for it, there's nothing we can do. Crap. So every symptom needs looking at. And it's just like, I am wearing my slightly compression warming gloves because my fingers are killing me in the winter. I have actually talked to the doctor a couple of years ago. I was like, I've never talked to anyone about this before, but I need to know. And I told her about the pain in my finger joints. And she said, well, that's part of ME/CFS. People with ME/CFS get joint pain without inflammation. And that was it. And I was like, okay, fine. But then last year, I had a situation where I was walking the dog in the cold and my fingers, something pinged, and then they got locked in like a clawed position and they hurt so bad. And I get like nervy pain down each side of the things, as well as the original pain in the joints. Turns out this is a very classic manifestation of the hypermobility spectrum disorder, or hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in your hands. Like the things I was explaining, because I went into a group and told them what I was experiencing and saying, what should I do? Because going to my doctor is going to be useless. And yeah, some very helpful person came back and said and explained broke it down what each thing was happening. So instability in the joint and some nervy pain, maybe tendons shifting when they shouldn't, and the cold impacting, and a whole good list of things to help me. And the moral of the story is I probably need to talk to someone, maybe like a hand therapist. So there's a good reason for it happening. And probably if you let it get worse and worse and didn't treat it, then you end up stuck. Like my SI joints, it took so long to get help that they're probably almost permanently going to have trouble, because they're almost never comfortable, and they struggle to stay in place now. And who knows, if we had gotten onto it sooner and I hadn't been living for so long with them clearly out of place, that they wouldn't be so bad. So explore every symptom. And this is going to be a hard one, isn't it? Because you don't want to sit there beating a dead horse. Okay, if it's been fully explored, there's absolutely no physiological situation going on that could be causing it, and you don't know why it's happening, and then maybe they could put it down to some kind of oversensitivity in the system, and then you have to live with it, fine. But how often is that really the case? How often is there no reason for ongoing and debilitating symptoms, right? Like, how can that be? It's just not my experience. So if I had anything to share, explore each symptom and push to find what could be causing it, and what could be, not just causing it, but also like making it worse or continuing it, perpetuating factors, but also what can help. Because I just don't think it's gonna work, because in a lot of cases, like, painkillers didn't touch anything when my SI joints are out of place, right? What you're gonna do when your joints are out of place? A painkiller, unless you get very strong painkillers, it's not really gonna make any difference. So you're either just trying to live with pain, which then sensitizes your nervous system and then like completely perpetuates the entire cycle and adds fatigue and all sorts of other things. It's a domino effect in your body. So figure out what is causing the symptom, what could be perpetuating the symptom, and then put in a great management plan, the best management plan you can put in. And sometimes that's going to defy the diagnoses you have right now. And that's kind of okay, because it's not really necessarily about the diagnosis in the end, because not every symptom you're ever going to have is going to be attributed to one diagnosis. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions below. I feel very strongly about this. I don't want you losing as much time as I did. I was in so much pain and so tired, like in my soul, in my bones, in my joints, in the depths of everything for so many years. My entire 20s were lost to that, and I did my best, but they are gone and I can't get them back. And now I'm 39 years old, and only now am I able to start exploring hobbies and things that I've always wanted to do. Like, I just published my first book, my first fiction book this year, and I've been wanting to do that since I graduated university. I mean, I've been writing stories forever, and who knows, you know, there's no guarantee I could have had it done, but I could have at least been exploring these hobbies instead of battling these symptoms, which all these doctors that I was seeing were just like, oh, well, I don't have an answer. She'll just have to live like that. I don't like it. That is crap. That is not the way this works. Please write down all your symptoms, explore them, try to find a doctor who will help you, and try not to be fobbed off, and try to keep going on, you know, on your journey. I'm not saying that you need to become a slave to it, but just have a look at things that could help. That's what this whole channel is dedicated to. There's a whole lot of resources here. The things that help me most: improving sleep, chiropractic care, getting rid of the endometriosis, low-dose naltrexone, and managing the pain. So having a pain management plan in place for each symptom, and for like a kind of an overall situation as well. So if you have widespread pain, even if you can't necessarily fix one part of the pain, like hypermobility looks like widespread pain if it's all your joints, but say you've got tension in your neck and your legs and whatever, have a plan for that. Just make pain management plans so that you can bring down those pain levels, which will help mitigate the nervous system over activation and help hopefully reduce the fatigue. Make all those plans, but I've got a whole lot of other videos to help you with that side of things. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you again soon.